can't stamp my vitals if I ain't back with Joolz Guides, in which I wander around London and tell you fascinating facts about this city. And today we are going to wander around Primrose Hill, but we're starting here at Chalk Farm. Around the 1820s, most of this area was all rural. The only things that existed were like the Belsize estates and a couple of farms, Chalk Farm being one of them, for example, from which we get Chalk Farm. Chalk. Who says chalk? Do you say Holborn? I bet you say Sandwich, do you?
Yes, I do.
All of the grounds around here were actually owned by the Eton estates, as in Eton School in Windsor. Come around 1820 or so, they were allowed to lease their grounds. So they leased it and they started building roads and houses. One of the first houses to be built was, hardly surprising, the pub. And this building here, that used to be the Adelaide Tavern. The trams that came up from Tottenham Court Road, they would have come along here, and this was the reason why there's this big kind of gap here is because they would have turned around here because they couldn't make it up the hill. And then Adelaide Road was one of the first streets around here. I love these little details. These are all abandoned, all these fountains around London, and they're all property of the Metropolitan Drinking Fountain and Cattle Trough Association. The Victorians loved a snappy title. But I'm glad that they still hang around, because down there is indeed a cattle trough, which is just completely abandoned. I think they should turn it into a flower bed or something. But anyway, if you watch the early episodes of Minder, the Winchester Club is just next to Chalk Fram Station, and you can still see the Adelaide pub in those. You know Minder?
Yeah.
If you want a quintessentially British show from the 1970s, Minder is the one.
I'd like to see the world for once.
This is a bit grim, this bit. Originally, this would have been a country lane. Look how ugly it all is now. But it then turned into Regents Park Road. So Regents Park Road officially starts here, and it kind of curls up and over the bridge over there. Of course, the railway came along and sliced straight through the lane. This bridge was designed by Robert Stephenson. 1837, I suppose, was when the railway started up. Robert Stephenson was the son of George Stephenson, the father of the railways. Actually, it used to have a lot more graffiti on it. It's a pretty important railway. I mean, it goes up to Manchester and stuff. Again, another one of those snappy titles. The Victorians, they really knew how to name something. I think it was called the East and West India Docks and Birmingham Railway. Trips off the tongue, that. If you see my amazing video about Camden, you'll know all about these pubs which were built for the kind of railway navvies. The Pembroke Castle, that was the one for the Welsh people, because you had the Windsor Castle for the English people, and you had the Edinburgh Castle for the Scottish people, and you had the Dublin Castle for the Irish people. And they all started fighting with each other, so they had to be segregated and given their own pubs. So the Pembroke Castle was for the Welsh. If you're as tall as I am, you can see over here, and you can see all the way down to Primrose Hill Tunnel, which was a wonder of the age. It was the first underground railway tunnel in London, and people flocked here to see its construction. And now you can barely see it, and it's all overgrown with weeds, and it's a real pity, actually. And speaking of snappily titled places, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Very nice.
Very.
Great.
Oh, thank you. So do you. I actually have hat envy. I like those. Far more suitable for the climate.
Very elegant.
Thank you.
I love it.
Right, and back in 1865, this was the home for boys, the boys' home for the training and maintenance of boys. The boys' home for the training and maintenance, not by their own labour, of destitute boys not convicted of crime, or something like that. It's so long and complicated. It's another one of those real snappy titles. I mean, imagine if you actually lived there and you had to fill in one of those forms. No wonder none of them had any jobs.
What's your address?
yeah, I'm just trying, and you've got to fit it into a box that big. Training and maintenance. So they would learn stuff like how to play a brass band instrument, sewing, other jobs. I mean, that really does scream Dickensian to you, doesn't it? It's what are you laughing at? It's a very Dickensian kind of place. It's the sort of place Charles Dickens would write about. His sort of earlier, because he was stricken with poverty, wasn't he, when he was young?
Yeah, except this place doesn't really express poverty these days.
No, exactly. They've turned it into luxury flats, of course, starting at sort of £700,000. But I don't think this railway goes to Worcester or Bicester. The Bicester would be the Chiltern Railway from Marylebone. No, the reason I'm mentioning it is because A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens was actually first serialised in 2 local newspapers. It was the Bicester Times, it was the Worcester Times. These houses along here sprung up around that time, and I think Harry Enfield lives in one of them, the famous comedian. Loads of money. My favourite one is where he goes, all these birds in this club would give their right arm to dance with me, but I ain't gonna, because I don't dance with birds with one arm.
And hear them echo through the hills, peace throughout the land.
Primrose Hill is one of those areas that has a set, the Primrose Hill set. People like Kate Moss and Sadie Frost and Jude Law, the Primrose Hill set. You know, but that building over there, that's actually now Limonia, the Greek restaurant, although I think you'll find it's pronounced Limonia. And originally it was the Chalk Farm Tavern. It was there that Sir Edmund Berry Godfrey, in I think it was 1678, was carried from Primrose Hill, where he was found murdered with a sword through his body and his neck broken. Apparently he had been accused of a Catholic plot to overthrow King Charles II. This whole area behind here where all these houses built, that was like its pleasure grounds, and people would flock to the place. In the 1860s, the grounds got sold, and then the Chalk Farm Tavern just became one of many pubs, actually one of which was the Primrose Tavern, which is that building there. See, the reason why that's different from the other houses is because that was a tavern. That street there, Chamberlain Street, I think that's the one where Jude Law used to live with Sadie Frost. This whole area was notorious for duelling. People used to fight duels quite close by on Primrose Hill. But this was all part of the pleasure grounds of the Chalk Farm Tavern. That building up there, if you've seen Paddington 2, that one there, that balcony up there is where Hugh Grant comes out and talks on the balcony, you know. I think he lives in that house in the film. But this Chalcot Square over there must be one of the most desirable residences in London, I should think. Look at the massive houses over there. And down this street here, Chalcot Crescent, is where Paddington actually lives in the film. To quote my friend Yelitsa in Belgrade, you can take a lot of very good selfies here for your Facebook and Instagram accounts. There's always people coming down here doing photo shoots and stuff. This guy, Dr. Jose Rizal, he was a national hero of the Philippines. I think he managed to rescue a bunch of Filipino artefacts from the British Museum. The Brits are always just nicking stuff off everyone, basically.
Do you remember when we did the little photo shoot of yourself here? A few years ago now, and we made the logo.
This wall here, people wondering my famous logo, famous, world famous Jules Guide's logo like that was taken against this wall. Photograph was taken here. And I just sort of turned it into a silhouette. Hey presto. Those houses over there, by the way, that's where Lord Byron's widow died. I don't know, 1865 or something. Can't remember when. Next to the Queen's Pub. I find the Queen's Pub is quite a nice pub, but it's a bit too compact for me. I'm such a tall bloke. I find it quite awkward. The bar takes up most of the pub.
So yeah, it's quite skinny, isn't it? Yeah, it's very narrow. It's a narrow pub.
There sure are a lot of cafes in Primrose Hill. If you want to hang out in a cafe, this is the place.
Happy days are here again, the skies above are clear again. Let us sing a song of cheer.
Some of you may recognise Primrose Hill from my amazing documentary, Take Me to Pitcairn. Well, you and I walk straight up this hill, don't we, Simon? We're up there right at the beginning, before I head off to Pitcairn Island. A highly recommended film, by the way. This is actually where, in War of the Worlds, the hero, the protagonist, witnesses basically the death of the Martians. You know War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells? Yeah. No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century that human affairs were being watched by the timeless worlds of space. Ding, 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 ding. Across the gulf of space, minds immeasurably superior to ours regarded Earth with envious eyes, and slowly and surely they drew our plans against us. He has a hell of a day, actually, in the book. He manages to walk all the way from Fulham, all the way up to Swiss Cottage and over up to Primrose Hill, and then he talks about the red weed. And I pushed on towards Primrose Hill. Far away, through a gap in the trees, I saw a second Martian, as motionless as the first, standing in the park towards the zoological gardens, and silent. A little beyond the ruins, I came upon the red weed again, and found the Regents Canal, a spongy mass of dark red vegetation. Oh, the chances of anything coming from Mars is 1,000,000 to 1, he said. You know how in Columbo, the first episodes of Columbo, he was kind of quite a serious detective. And then towards the later ones, he just turns into a complete eccentric, completely mental. I've got a feeling I'm going that way.
Cartoon character of yourself.
What's nice about it is that this is one of those spots from which they have a preserved view of St Paul's Cathedral, so you're not actually allowed to build anything between here and St Paul's Cathedral. I think there's something like 9 or 10, I don't know how many. You imagine back then, even 150 years ago, that would have been all fields. And indeed, Charles Dickens talks about Bob Cratchit running across the fields in Christmas Carol. He lives in Camden Town in A Christmas Carol. Now you can't run across the fields. And that school down at the bottom, I actually went to that school when I was in primary school. I even remember the register. Quayham, Jeremy, Bryn, Thomas, Martin, Julian, Paul, Nicky, Andrew, Misha, Stephen, Mahmoud, Chris, Kenji, John, Ailu, Julie, Jessie, Louise, Alan. I've forgotten the rest of them. Well, look, in here I've got my book. Here we go. Look, this is
extraordinary. Now, anybody who remembers that.
We had to do something called School Under Siege. And it was a project in which you had to imagine that your school had contracted a disease. And you weren't allowed to leave, and we had to write essays. This is Andrew Van Dykes with his guts hanging out. This is called Mr. Wilkinson. It doesn't rhyme, because I was that cool. I could write poems that didn't rhyme in those days. Mr. Wilkinson is freckly. His hair is curly. It's all as if it was wire bent into one place. He doesn't give you any chances. If you talk, he says right lines, even if you're just saying a sum to yourself. But I'll tell you one thing, I wouldn't like to be a Mr. Wilkinson. Anyway, he's marked it. I got a gold star for that. It's not easy, Julian, he's written. Oh, there's even a picture of him there, look. Terrorist. Now, these are more of those parish boundary markers, not to be mistaken for milestones. STPP, 1830, St Pancras Parish. And then this one, I'm assuming it must be the parish of Hampstead. It's J, there's an H there. I like those things, even though they get it right in the way when you're trying to sledge down this hill in the wintertime. So it's always get in the way. You always hit these, doesn't matter which direction you try and sledge. Even if you start over there, you always end up colliding with these right into your testicles. This is where 101 Dalmatians was set, wasn't it?
Yes. We'll have to do another video when it comes to summer.
That's true.
And when it's snowing.
Oh, I've done one when it's snowing. London in the snow. London in the snow. Visit Primrose Hill in your own time or with a friend. I think it was Rex Harrison who used to do those British Pathé films.
Telly Sir Ballas did one for Birmingham, didn't he?
Really?
Yeah.
All together shout it now, there's no one who can doubt it now, so let's tell the world about it now.
Another one of these abandoned drinking fountains. No doubt given in memory of somebody, yeah. Joseph Payne Esquire, Deputy Assistant Judge. A zealous total abstainer. Doesn't sound much like a judge to me.
Your cares and troubles are gone, there'll be no more from now on. Happy days are...
Spider-Man lives there.
That's Primrose Hill School over there, primary school. Another one of these Victorian foreboding... The Victorians did that very well, didn't they?
Scary, intimidating building.
Exactly. That was supposed to be a school for kids, really young kids. These houses along here, St Mark's Crescent, all have the backs facing the canal. They all come on to have private moorings down there. It's lovely, isn't it? Gee, my mum used to live up here, one of these houses up here. She first met my dad. They lived together in a flat here. Richard Bryars lived downstairs. Spot the house that the Germans hit. Erno Goldfinger, famous for his brutalist architecture. Well, he designed this one in the 60s, I guess. Is it 60s? Looks 60s to me. He was a very famous, celebrated architect, after whom Ian Fleming, of course, named his famous villain in James Bond. But just after that Erno Goldfinger house is Cecil Sharp House. Now, Cecil Sharp founded the English Folk Dance Society, and he was famous for having gone around the whole world trying to find old classic English folk songs. So he went as far as the Appalachian Mountains to discover all these songs like "A frog he would a wooing go." Do you remember that? A frog he would a wooing go, hey ho said Roly. They were obsessed with singing songs about frogs. With a roly-poly gammon and spinach, hey ho said Anthony Roly. Do you remember that song, Simon? There was another one. There was a frog lived in a well, whipsy diddly dandy dee. With a harum scarum diddle dum dare and whipsy diddly da. Why do I know so many weird English
folk concerts? We do folk music. We do dance classes. So English country dancing, Morris dancing.
There's a tea dance going on
we
at the moment.
We have a tea dance at the moment. We do tango classes. We also do education stuff, so kids classes in the summer holidays, things like that. We have a resource library, so the Vaughan Williams Memorial Library, which has got the biggest collection of sort of folk resources in the UK.
I should have told my friend Simon, he's well into Vaughan Williams.
We have the Ivor Hitchens mural as well in the main hall, what at the time was the largest single piece of artwork in Europe.
We used to have to do country dancing at school. There was a pat a cake polka. First couple separate, go up around the ring. Pass your partner going out, pass her coming in. Bow to the lady, promenade your own. Oh, I want to be near you, you're the one for me, I want to be near you, you're the one for me. Second couple, so each couple would go around like that and pass your partner going out, pass her coming in. Oh, actually, quite fun. I might try and recreate that, try and start a new craze at Ibiza. You know, remarkable actually, these buildings actually just beyond there. I mean, those were nice, beautiful houses that got knocked down by the council. And they built those, Darwin Court, I mean, honestly. And that is actually what led to Primrose Hill being a conservation area, because everyone was so annoyed about these being built that they said, OK, no, we'll have quite enough of that, thank you very much.
Happy days are here again.
It's very easy to miss these things along here, but look, on this door of this old lamp, that's St. Pancras trampling on a Roman soldier underfoot.
Oh, yeah.
You see? It would have taken someone quite a while to do that. That's why I'm pointing it out. Whoever it was who designed that will probably be grateful that I am now appreciating it and telling other people to look at it. I bet you didn't know that was St. Pancras trampling a Roman soldier underfoot, did you? You see?
Me and my girl, meant for each other, sent for each other, and liking it so.
When the train tracks got electrified, they had to get rid of the house here and build that big building there. Electricity substation. It looks all right, I suppose. I mean, as substations go.
Not a bad substation. It's in my top 5, actually.
Oh, by the way, this pub here, called the Engineer because it was for thirsty people who used to work in the railways over there when they first opened it up. And I think that might be Isambard Kingdom Brunel. More interestingly than that, when I used to hang around with my celebrity friend Woody Harrelson, his friend got sick out of the window. I don't know why I remember that.
Onto some poor unsuspecting pedestrian underneath.
In the rather glamorously named Dumpton Place is the Landsdowne Pub, named after the Marquis of Landsdowne, who negotiated the peace terms, the Treaty of Paris, was it? Peace terms with America. Anyway, you can see that document, one of the first drafts, in the Landsdowne Club up in Mayfair.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which is Landsdowne House. And actually, you can see me walk past that building in my video about Mayfair. Or is it my video about Belgravia? I've forgotten. Who cares? Let's go to the pub.
No use pretending we knew the ending a long time ago. Some little church.
Alas, that about wraps it up for today's Jules guide, but thanks for watching. If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button underneath the video. And if you like what I do, you can head over to my website, joolzguides.com, where you can find out more about me and even hire me for a private guided tour of London. Or if you wanted to, you can even leave a donation via PayPal or become a Patreon, whatever that is. Cheers, Simon.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
And when I've loved, laughter, be happy ever after. Me and my girl. Oh, where did you get that hat? Where did you get that tie? It is such a knobby one.